Thank you for that little bit of a break on YouTube. You might have noticed the break.
Give that little bit on YouTube.
You know why? It's because the old Twitter was crashing.
Back out here.
We're getting things back out here. On YouTube, you noticed the break. Why? Because the old Twitter crashing. Things back out here. All right. Okay, let's get up here. Okay, let's get Willie up here. Get co-host invites.
I hope so. I'm just gonna bring Bill right now.
Kind of cut off and Bill.
No, I just stopped talking.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah, I was trying to push screen and concentrate at once. Hey, deal with it here. All right, Bill, let's do microphone build flavor. Can you accept microphone? You have a second. Bill, you're here. Are we better now or hyper better now?
We have a stable connection now.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm just gonna bring Bill up.
All right, Fendel, give me a thump. All right, good. Oh, hey, me, Retito. How are you doing, friend? Bill Knight, you there?
Yes, I am.
You went shit there. We're glad I completely lose you.
No, I just stopped.
Sorry, man.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, no, I was trying to push the screen and concentrate all at once.
No, it's great to not finish sentences when you're trying
Lucy,
to
the one that's up at the Lero, Killer tweeted out there. It's been really frustrating.
Hey, deal with it. I'm still here.
When you have a base like last week.
All right, Bill, I sent you a microphone, Bill. Hopefully everything's clear and you can accept that microphone when you have a second. Fendel, you're here. Everybody got thumbs up. Are we better now? I hope we're better now.
Mr. Bill Knight, thank you for being very patient with us. Very to hear from you. If you don't mind, though, a little intergen as we watch.
Well,
yeah. I mean, what do you?
The signs are there.
Oh, that was another addiction that I was struggling with. I don't do that here. Leave that out later this week. Yeah, I'm an artist.
All right, Fendel gave me a thumbs up. We got 100% acid.
But Fendel, tell me I'm an artist.
Oh, and Bill's coming up. Hey, me Retratito, how are you doing?
In your art?
Yeah, well,
Bill Knight, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me? Thank you.
We can. Everything went for shit there. We're glad we didn't completely lose you.
I thought our struggle connection, I had some whatever. Started at BMG, man. The digital photography, and it was the start of 2001. And I remember.
We're clear now.
The only reason I want to know is because he had
now back and we're now comfy and cozy. Everybody can relax. Okay. Well, if everybody doesn't mind just retweeting out the space for us, so we can get a few more people in here. The new space, the one that's up at the little arrow. Use the little arrow. Get her tweeted out there. Yeah, man, it's just it's been getting really frustrating. It's just not. It's crazy how crappy it is. I mean, when you have a space full of people like last week when we were speaking with Acid, we had a space full of people, and then all of a sudden at like 2 hours in or whatever it was, boom, everybody just started dropping off like flies because they couldn't hear anymore. And that sucks. And Jay's been popping in and out, so I wonder if he's having issues. All right, well, you know what? We got Bill. We're recording the space. The space will be clear if it's recorded, so that's how it has to go forward. So let's put it down. Mr. Bill Knight, thank you for being very patient with us. We're very happy to hear from you tonight. If you don't mind, could you give us a little introduction as to who you are?
And well, one, and I have some tricks where people buy art, and I see them. Thanks for having me. My name is Bill Knight. Me up, and I was now to follow that up with some other addiction that I was struggling with. I won't say that here. And I got that out and later in the series. Yeah, I'm an artist. That's why it still hasn't really sunk in. Really, an artist with me, and I've been an artist since spring of 2016.
That must be huge. I mean,
Fendel keeps telling me I'm an artist, and you folks tell me I'm an artist, so here I am. I'm an artist.
I mean, have you sold a piece of art?
I have.
Then you're an artist.
Yeah, well, I was. Yeah, I know a hammer when I did it, so I didn't know.
Like I know you have. I bought some art.
I didn't want you to play my art. Thank you. I just, So I am an artist. I learned how to paint at a nonprofit here in Seattle, Washington called Path of Art, and it's a nonprofit that helps people who are struggling from addiction, mental health, trauma, homelessness. Whatever, and they'll help you through different mediums of art, and it could be a variety of things. And my first class was digital photography.
Take the fast shots side.
And it was the summer of 2011. And I remember.
And she was really moved. And at the time, she was
The only reason why I wanted to go is because you had to be sober for 24 hours. And
I said to her, I don't have additional on your document, but art.
And so I said, well,
she said, yes,
I'll try. And I showed up, and it was a great experience, and I enjoyed it. Then I had a photograph that I did in a gallery for one night, and that was at the Seattle downtown Fontaine. And I was just absolutely beside myself because, you know, in that alley right behind there, I was homeless and drunk and just, you know, I was waiting to check out. And then here I am in an art gallery in Seattle, and that just, you know, and I didn't really follow up, and then later on in spring of 2016, I took my first painting class, a little bit there, and then I really took off on my second multimedia class. My first class was with Marty Shepard, and she was known for painting trees, and that's what I did. And again, I just wanted to show up because, you know, that was one day I couldn't drink, and so I showed up, and then the second class was multimedia with Michelle De La Vega as the teaching artist, and I painted this painting called Eggs and Toast. And people, I was supposed to cut it up because that was part of my project, and I was about to cut it up, and the teacher stopped me, and students said he can't because I learned everything too awesome from him, but so I was told to do another one, so I did another one, and you know, I'm not thinking of it, and they said you can sell that. And I said how, and they didn't know, but so they said you're an artist, and I didn't.
It's an important skill.
It was very uncomfortable because he told me that artists equal assistant, right? Flat out. I was born in Great Falls, Montana, and I was potty trained. They handed me a 30-06, and we go hunting. That's how we eat. And art was not in the cards, and then however my mother did have a master's degree at San Diego State. I was at the Art Society, but anyways, so I was really awkward with that label, and then later, you know, because I worked on cars, I became, you know, then later managed apartments, and I did all kinds of crazy shit for a job.
So the first class that you
but that was definitely not one.
How did you find that?
And then I had this experience to where people looked at my art, and I see in their eyes they got up a little bit. I found them through the Recovery Cafe, and that's a nonprofit here in Seattle, Washington. Real hands-on with homeless, and you know, digital. All you gotta be is 24 hours, you know, 24 hours sober. And then I got emotional as I am now. One group, a week support group, and I didn't know. I didn't remember there. Where I'm a member there now, and I've been a member there since April 2004. And because I was a member there, I qualified for I don't know, I just couldn't, and that's how I got sober in and out. And the digital photography, and then I had, it was very interesting that the first 10 people that arrived would see the digital camera follow me that you could sell that super cool. Make t-shirts. But I had my trusty BlackBerry 67 that went on from there. And I shot a picture since. That's how I guess I was an artist. But I never really, you know, got into it. Where I really, that was really big in photography. Great Falls, Montana. Used to listen to scanner. Seeing that emotional change in someone's life, that really was I don't know. It's all right. I just take pictures from my.
That must be huge. I mean, you know, I don't know that that's a question we've ever asked a lot of artists, and I don't know how often that comes up about when they stand back in a gallery or something and watch people looking at their pieces. I don't think we have ever really talked to anybody about how they feel about that and how that, you know, affects them. That's really cool. That's really cool. That's like a connection. I mean, that's a really rad connection because that's a connection between you, the art, and the person that's viewing the art, right? A little connection triangle happening there.
No problem. Absolutely. Absolutely. No problem at all. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I didn't know. And that was really
with the wheelie updates on WX8 BK.
yeah, folks, thank you everybody for popping in tonight. We're really happy to have you.
Then
Great
after
member
that,
tonight, Sister Sage, Hash Brown down there,
just kept
Acid,
painting at
Nifty,
home, and I
Jay,
didn't want to
Kendall
show.
De La Creme, thank you
I
for
didn't
being
want
here,
to
my
show
man.
anybody
Bob
my
Haldy,
art.
thank you for joining us, having your
I just
breakfast
painted.
coffee and hanging with us this morning.
Because I
Appreciate
thought
you very
they'd
much.
say it was
Ryan
shit.
Net in here, thank you for popping in. Jonathan, good to see you in here tonight.
And au contraire.
Friends, thank you
Well,
very much,
yeah.
everybody, for joining us tonight. For those of you that don't know, this is the
Yeah,
Night Terror
apparently
broadcast.
so.
We're here every
And,
Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yeah, that's
talking
just
to
an
artists
old
about the
message
art
I
and
heard
the
along
journey. Hanging out
when
tonight
I
with
was
Bill and
growing
Art as
up
our
your
guest.
shit.
Next
So
week,
that
we
just
will
kind of was there.
be on space.
But,
so once we get that link up,
then,
and save your space and set your
one
reminders.
day,
It's going to be
I kept going to the
greatness. You can
7
find,
a.m.
some of our archive
7
stuff.
a.m.
You can head over to
It was a
wxapbk.com.
recovery meeting down
Going
the
in the right
street
direction, and you find our old archive
at an old
spaces.
church.
We've had Mira Tratito
And I
on
couldn't
with us,
stay
Kendall
sober
on with
for
us. We've had
shit.
number one Hash Brown who are in here in space tonight. We've
And,
also had Paldi on as a guest, and many.
They kept
more.
asking for
You can head over there,
people
check it
for
out. The one that you
90-day
like.
day counts.
They're
And
butt
fuck, I
sized.
was always
Some of them are 5 hours long.
squealing,
Don't let that scare you.
you know, yeah, Bill. And there's this lady next to me. I was always
Willie,
sitting
how's the
next to.
situation?
She was an older lady,
What's that?
How are the ants?
struggling
You
to
were battling
stay
ants
sober
last week?
too.
Oh, yeah, I'm out here.
Oh,
And
I'm making rounds.
Prime.
she
ants,
passed
did you say?
away
Prime ant one
from
time.
drinking. But
Yeah. So B, it just goes by B, right?
I
so
sat
that's
next
the
to
middle,
her.
yeah.
And
Alright.
her and her husband
We'll
were
dig
having
into that next
problems
week,
and
I
the
guess.
kids. And,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I was trying to
Oh,
take
yeah.
the fast
Do you
shot
happen to
to
meet B
suicide.
at TestCon, Bill?
And yes, I did. I was just and yeah.
What
And then,
some
yeah.
reason I showed
And the
her
trick was putting one together thing I did called
Oh my
Evil.
goodness.
But
And
people
when I
don't want their
showed it
faces
to
and
her-
names put together with each other kind of thing.
She had that
in
reaction.
general.
Yeah, I was, and
Yeah.
she was really moved. Yeah,
It was
and
awesome.
At the time,
No, I
she
think it
was
was
great. And then I messaged
homeless.
him direct and
Yeah.
process of
It's
moving
amazing
to
seeing all
transitional
the
housing. I had,
Yeah.
and I have been in transitional
Right? Oh,
housing.
it was
in
such an amazing
multiple
time. It was
states,
so cool. I remember when you
different
walked in, dude, because
situations
I'd
where was
seen
homeless
I'd
and
seen you pictures of you before. So
And I
as soon as
said
you
to
walked in the door
her,
right away,
I
was
don't
like,
know what kind of
that's fucking
transitional
building it.
housing you're going
It was
to,
so
but if
cool
you could
'cause,
put art in
you know,
there.
everybody to me
I
that
want to
walked
give
in
this painting.
the door, like there's my heroes, like people that I collect, like
And,
it's really. I said that over and over. I mean, never mind that I
She
was
said, yes, I'd
staying
love
in
to.
Fendel's living room
And I come
while
to
he was
find
playing a
out that
saxophone,
the
Rick's and
transitional
freaking
house
Hash Brown's, drumming and
that
freaking
she was
Ian
moving
was over on the
into
keyboard,
was
and we had Yoshi
mutual
playing
friend
guitar.
who
Like, got
ran
my
a
mind
bookstore.
freaking blown.
No longer there.
24 hours a day,
And,
7 days a week when I was in Seattle. That's great. I was in 7 days, but yeah,
Yes,
just,
he
all
stayed
people that were
sober
at the
for a
show.
long
were just
time,
like,
and then
I was
unfortunately
overwhelmed.
relapsed.
I was
and
super
died.
overwhelmed.
Well, that's why we wrote here. Yeah, right.
That's how we roll.
Yeah, later on in that bookstore.
Yeah, it's kind of, we were talking about Seattle. I
I
mean,
got
how
a
was
job just,
um,
kind of on weekends.
what was
And
like
my
having
first
your
day
up
on
on
the job,
the
I
digital screens,
sold
in
5
that large?
paintings.
I mean, most of your
Because the
pieces
lady
aren't
let me sell paintings
very
there,
large,
too.
right? If I'm correct.
What a
And
rut.
the smallest
What,
I
uh,
have,
what
again,
kind
I
of work
used a
was
stretch canvas.
that you were doing
That
that she
I
let
have
you sell
9 inch by
paintings?
9 inch. Hard inch.
What kind of work was it that you were doing that she
12
let
inch
you sell
12 inch,
paintings there?
But I really prefer 16 by 20. That's one of my favorites. Well, excuse me. I can. It was acrylic abstract paintings. They were 16 inch by 20 inch on stretch canvas.
It's coming through the
that,
walls.
have
He's like, "That's a Death
gesso,
Star."
They're all ready to go.
Yeah, sure.
And
I love it.
and
This
yeah,
is a
it was
great
a
show. This is
bookstore. It
definitely
was a
like just hang
recovery
out with somebody's,
bookstore. And the lady would
Okay,
let
his name was just Kendall.
the lady would let
I
me
was like, you don't let me have the time to come over here.
as well as try and help them out, get them
Bing bong. Oh, it's Fendel.
a transitional
that's how we are
house. You
Seattle.
set up the place
Superstars
upstairs.
just popping over.
Yeah,
Sister
it's
Sid
pretty
hanging out.
cool. Okay, sorry about that.
Is dope.
It's all right. The
Yeah,
Death
I
Star's
mean,
good.
I
I'm not.
I,
what am
I asked
I
like what
have
kind
anything
of
as
store it was
fancy as the
because
Star.
I
have-
always like
The fuck do I have?
I
It's
like
not
to
even- it
find
doesn't
those
even
kinda,
the
like,
label on it, but there's no name. Well, that's
weird
great. I
spots
probably
to
I
buy
picked
art.
this one just because I had a
You
clever
know,
name.
like
Actually, this was Cushion
in
Berries.
town,
That's
there's
what
this
it's called.
burger
Yeah,
place.
Cushion Berries. Are you
and it's actually
are you an
National
Indigo man
Burger.
or a Satie man or don't
Yeah.
care?
Well,
Yeah,
National
that's what the doctor told me in the beginning. when he
But they always have
prescribed
this
to me
like little tiny
California.
like wall in
Then that's
by
what
the
they
bathroom
prescribed when I got medical
that
card
they
here
hang
and
like
watched the same
6, 8
thing.
paintings on.
But my doctors are
And
all
they're
in
all
my
for they're always all
therapist,
for sale,
man.
and
I
they're
said,
always
God,
the
just
local
don't
artists,
drink,
and always
please,
great.
for
So I
Christ's
always
sake.
like so you're what we call California's like kind of like
Yeah,
weird spot.
yeah.
Everything but weed. Oh, it's not an
Yeah,
art
it
gallery,
was
but
yeah.
there's this great
I
work
tell
from
my
this local
recovery
artist.
sponsor says, look, Bill, it's the only retirement
So I
membership.
think that's cool.
Don't drink.
That is
fucking,
neat. There's a
You know,
there's a
I'm good
breakfast
with it,
place
man.
I go
I mean,
to
you
in
know,
Eureka when I'm down at the cabin,
it's,
and
You know,
they
Becca,
they
it's
have
my
stuff,
spot.
but
Friends with
it's
flowers,
in the
man.
bathrooms,
Good.
and I think
Fall
it's
asleep.
brilliant. because like you're
How
you're
did you
you're
make out
sitting there,
Seattle in the first place?
you know,
What
you're
brought you out
standing there doing
from,
your thing or whatever, you know,
Montana?
you're a captive audience. So, you know, I mean, I guess if you're standing at the urinal, you're only captive to the one that's in front of your face. But you know, by the time you're done, you're
Sorry,
probably
normally
gonna
break
buy
into
it.
a
'Cause it's pretty
California
good.
politics rant.
Oh, well.
That is neat. That is neat, Willie. We
Well,
got
what
to do a
happened
tour. Buy art
I
in
did
strange
earlier in the
places.
story.
Where's the,
Dad
I'll have to put that out there.
Mom got
Who is
breakfast in bed.
who's
She was
bought
happy.
art in the strangest
Well,
place?
too happy because
That's
it snowed in Great Falls,
That's
Montana.
a
And she said,
that's
I
a
want out
TV
of
show,
snow,
man.
and that's it. So they moved.
Reality
I was
show.
7 years old, Santa
Oh.
Rosa, California.
Diners,
16 hours to
drive-ins,
San
and
Francisco.
dive art.
And I didn't like that.
Love it. Love it.
And I let him know that.
You know, Bill, as you
And
were, you know, you
my mom pulled up in the
Let's
elementary
kind of
school and said, "Oh, you better not screw
come up a
around
few
here, 'cause
times
this
as
guy's
we've
got
been
a
talking here, as
education
you've been
and he'll
talking,
whip
is
your
that,
ass."
you know, I'm
Straight
really
up.
happy.
He whipped my ass.
It just warms
Then they
my
got
heart
whipped
how
my
many
ass
people there are in the world that are
special
always
ed
willing to
place.
help folks
Class
out,
with Mrs. Mud,
no matter
comes
what
home noon,
situations
and I
are.
think
There's
about it,
people that are
well,
always
I
willing to help,
how the
man. And
hell
like
is-
it, you know, to me, I look at it sometimes and it stresses me out just thinking about
I was
helping
alive
folks
by
out. You know, and I have in the past, but you
Yeah,
know,
as you
but
used to
the
say,
people that
yeah.
openly do
Well,
it all the
my-
time, man, it's such a
Yeah.
good thing
My
that there's
mom, Dad,
folks out there
they
that
had
are
it.
willing to you know,
Youngest,
to
the
do
youngest
that
of
and to
six,
help
that's
folks
wild.
out in any
You know,
way,
I mean,
shape, or
I
form they can,
used to hear
and
about, I mean,
you
a
know,
lot of the older
multiple
generation,
times,
there was a lot of
right?
family,
You know,
but I
not
guess you had lots of kids,
you know,
you know,
give
I mean,
people
you know,
chances,
you
which
had
is
kids who
it's
hard labor,
massive.
man.
I
You
mean,
had
look,
kids out
you know,
running
it's
cars.
definitely
You had
helped
kids
you.
mowing the
You're
lawn.
here
You had
today
kids
because
milking
of
cows.
these
So
people that
we
you
had,
know
you know,
wanted
Kick
to
you out
help
when
you
she
along,
wasn't
and
sensitive.
you obviously, judging by you know how what
You
you said,
got
you obviously wanted to help
But
yourself
you got
too.
yeah,
For sure.
Good.
Yeah, well, actually, I have 2 stepbrothers.
So when you were, you know, then you answered one of my first questions that I always opened with. So,
And I asked him, I said, "What year did you
so
guys
your
work?"
mom was the head of an art society, and she had a degree, but you know, you were
I didn't graduate. I said, "Why?"
your dad brought you up, and you were a boy, and that's how it was. It was that art was for sissies.
Basically. And I said, yeah, it was more like my older brother. My dad was pretty busy. He worked for the American Red Cross. There you go. And away he went. Basically, in that time when the earthquake hit, he told you where to go, what to do, and what I did not like it. Then I had pretty much on the weekends and get loaded. Yeah, my throat was really kind of tough on me, but and yeah, my dad. Yeah, it was really. Yeah, I never really. And I got that from him. What I got from him when I first moved to Santa Rosa, I definitely definitely stuff in Sonic. That was I learned how everything, every aspect about hunting from him. And I remember painting and doing, you know, more and I more importantly, and you know. That ended quickly, much because you know, I mean, that principle, and he taught me how to hit me, get home, and that's where I actually have it out. Anyways, so I went to junior high, and yeah, it was tough. It was
Good
rough.
old fat
Got suspended,
toast.
but it was interesting because when I got suspended, my mother worked at a private swimming racket club called Oak Park Swimming Racket Club. She did the books and everything, and you know, my dad knew
It's an important skill,
many years.
man.
And yeah, so when I would get suspended, well, I would go across the street, like when I was a little swimming. And I said, why? And there's a park connected to it. I'd go out there, go burn a joint. And when I'm good stoned, they have a snack bar where I can put stuff on. If you don't learn how to cook, so I'll chow down and then go hang out and maybe get lucky. I didn't like that idea, so.
That's my kind of. That's not how my fucking suspensions ever went.
I said, yeah, okay. Yeah. And then he said, by the way, the cop showed up. Women love it. You know, they didn't take me to jail. They just took me across the street again. And I'm like, what? Yeah, that was, I didn't know what the hell. Yeah, until I got caught something. And then he said, that's why your mother gets fed or value mother's little helper every Saturday. So then they put me in what they called the opportunity class. Okay, Dad, and that was that. And that class was run by a man that was a giant, and he was fierce, and he was
For
mean,
real.
and he was vicious. I mean, he was.
So that's the problem is me putting toast in a toaster or like popping open a Pop Tart. That's where I'm
he would
lacking.
escort us to and from the bathroom because we were the bad boys and girls, and I didn't care. I obeyed the rules, and
so
he and I were cool. But you know what?
So the first class that you took was the digital photography class. How did you find that? Was it something you enjoyed, or it just wasn't your vibe? And then when you ended up, that's why you do paintings now.
Well, I found that actually. I need to back up a little bit. I found them, and I just got drunk, did drugs. And that's an and then that it was bad. And then my parents said, "Who is real hands-on? How would you like to move back to Montana? You know, addiction, whatever. And all you got to be is, you know, 24 hours. By the way, they left to Montana. 24 hours sober at 18 years old because they would follow. My brother would follow their rules. He was partying and doing shit. And then And by being a member
left
there,
him there.
where I'm a member there
left him
now,
there
still currently, and I've
in
been a
Greenville,
member
Montana.
since April 2000.
No resources.
And
They
because I
almost
was a
closed
member
the
there, I qualified for the
Later,
art, and
got
that's how
arrested
I
for
got
selling
in
hash to a
class
minor
in
in
Great
Great
Falls,
Falls,
Montana.
And
And the
almost
digital
went to prison.
photography
I mean, that was serious
was
back then.
okay. It was
And my
very
father knew people
interesting
and
that the first
got him
people
into junior
that
college
arrived
where he got a degree in
received a
electronics.
digital camera
away
loaned
to
to
prison.
them. And I thought I was
So they
super
come up with a
cool.
house and asked me if I'd like
But
to go
I
back.
had my trusty BlackBerry
They knew he was violent.
6790.
They knew he was alcohol.
And I shot a picture.
I was so
sent
thrilled
it
to go
him.
back
He goes, "That'll
because
work.
I could
We'll
learn
use
from
it."
the master himself.
But yeah, I never
And he
really,
knew how to party.
got
And
much
so I
into
moved
it.
up there, and it was on
My
the
dad
party.
was really big into
I
photography.
got bullied.
Great
I had
Falls,
five
Montana.
Chinese
He used to
people,
listen
because
to
I
scanner
didn't
and
track
run around
all
and
my
get
friends
tracks
that
for the
that's
paper.
my martial arts, and they realized that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all right. I mean,
And then
now
so
just
I moved
take
up there when I
pictures
was
for
my first sophomore. I was a sophomore in high
minting
school,
of my NFT.
Great Falls High, and I was bullied all the time, but no one hit me. And
By
I
the way,
didn't
just
listen.
on YouTube, if you're on
And
YouTube, I do have eggs
people
and
were
toast.
shocked
got
that I
that up
moved to
there on the old
California to
YouTube
Great Falls,
screen. Sorry,
Montana.
folks. Normally we do the video thing
And
here,
asked me
but
why, but I do
it
something
hasn't been very nice to us
stupid
lately,
like
and it's been
that. They
kicking
didn't
people's
leave
out of
like
our
it, and
spaces,
actually
so
I
that's
had
why we don't have
California
any
ID
video
though.
in the space tonight, just in
And I
case
said, I'll tell
anybody
you
was
why.
wondering.
Because my
But we're
mother
not
and
here for
father
the
are
video.
still
We're
there,
here
and my brother's
for
at
the get.
home.
And our
We're
guest
gonna ask
tonight is
years when I
Bill
get
Knight,
back.
and we're happy to have him. Chat.
And guess what? Everybody followed
His
me to
life
my
and
house, and we're
what's
partying.
been going on.
It was on, and this is
So when you
chaos,
started,
drunk,
what,
and
what,
got in fights, and you know, you
I
gotta
was
try
trying to
it,
look for my
try those
notes here.
Chinese
What was the
martial arts,
first
but I'm a
painting that you
squirrel.
ever?
If I could interject, why don't you check your notes, and I'm going to take a breather.
He got the better of me until I fortunately broke off.
Problem. Absolutely.
Almost killed me.
Absolutely.
Knocked me on
Give me
top
one
of my
sec,
side,
please.
picked me up,
Absolutely.
and I
No
broke a
problem
bone
at
in
all.
his throat.
A commercial break.
Then I jumped out the window and ran down to
Yeah,
the
we're
Great
gonna
Falls,
do that.
Montana
Here,
Police
all right.
You're listening to
Started
The
blood.
Night Train with
Yeah,
Willie
I
and
had
Bits
press
on
charges, and I said, no, I
WX8 BK.
Yeah,
Because he
folks.
almost went to
Thank
prison.
you, everybody, for
I love my
popping in
brother.
tonight. We're really happy to have you.
So I
We've got a
decided
great room in here tonight.
to
Sister
just
Sage,
surrender to the cops, whatever.
Hash
They took me
Brown
to the
down
hospital.
there,
I,
Acid,
you know,
Nifty,
paralyzed, all that,
Jay,
beat up pretty
Fendel
good.
de la
But
Creme. Thank you for being
put
here,
me
my
in a
man.
house.
Paldi, thank you for joining
The
us,
runway house was very
having
large.
your
My
breakfast
kids,
coffee,
the next,
and
you know, I told
hanging
them I
out with
never
us
want
this
to see
morning.
my brother
Appreciate
again.
you
My
very
parents were
much.
told they tried to
Ryan
get
Annette
fast
in
flight
here. Thank you for
from
popping
Western
in.
Maryland that shows
John
up.
Thurman, good to see you in
And,
here tonight. Mia
and when I had,
Retratito and friends.
told them I never want to see him
Thank you
again.
very
And the very
much
next
for
day, they
everybody for
brought me
joining
living
us
room. He was
tonight.
sitting there.
For those of you
The
that
living
don't
room.
know, this is the Night Train
And I said,
broadcast.
I told you. And
We
they
are
said,
here
Bill,
every
sit down,
Tuesday
you gotta
night,
work
9
this out.
p.m. Eastern, 6
Because you
p.m.
can't stay here.
Pacific, talking to artists about the
And I
art
said,
and the
"What-
journey.
why?"
Hanging out tonight
And they
with Bill
said,
Knight
you
Art
have to go
as
back
our
with your
guest.
brother.
Next week,
And
we
I said,
will have
okay. And then we
B
talked.
on the
And
space.
he argued.
So, you know,
And,
once we
he
get that
said-
link up, make sure you do
he
click
said
it.
he overheard
and,
me say something to my girlfriend.
save your
I'm
space
Roxanne
and set your
or something.
reminders.
I don't know. We're talking about
It's
whatever.
going to be always a
I
great
don't remember
space.
that
And if you
part.
want to find some of our archive
And
stuff,
then he
you can head
said,
over to wx8bk.com,
you know, I said, "Look what you did to me."
and they can point you in
And
the
then he
right
pointed to his
direction.
throat.
You
He
can
said,
find
"Look
our,
what you did to me."
our old
I went
archive
to the doctor
spaces.
this morning. He said,
We've had
Corner
Meet
TV, but then 10
Retratito
minutes.
on with us. We've
It
had
won't touch
Fendel
me
on
again.
with us. We've had the number one
He never
Hash
did.
Brown who are in here in the space tonight. We've also had Paldi
Then he
on
said
as
to me,
a
I will
guest.
not go back to the house.
And
You can have the house to
many
yourself. I will get a
more.
hotel room.
You can head over there and check
and
it out and
I will
pick the
leave
one
you
that
be.
you like.
And I said, all right.
They're great.
They took
They're
me back to the
bite-sized.
house. I
Some
got
of
the
them are
house to
5
myself.
hours
I was
long, but
drinking
don't let that
at
scare
night.
you.
And he comes home.
Scares some people. All right. Willie, how's the ant
Then he comes
situation?
home from the bar.
What's that?
And he comes
How
home
are
from the
the
bar.
ants? You were battling the ants
And I
last week.
I don't care.
Oh,
He
yeah, I'm out here.
already tried suicide in
Oh, yeah.
house 15. That didn't work.
I'm making my
That
rounds.
was my first of many times.
Prime
So what
ant
happened was-
time, as you said.
He came into the
Prime
house.
ant killing time.
And he was drunk and laughing. And he had 2 women with him.
What do you do?
So
And he said, hey, Bill, sorry, I
it
said
just
I
goes
wasn't
by
coming back.
beat,
But hey,
right?
listen, I wanted to make an apology
To
to
the
you.
best of my knowledge,
You know,
yeah.
here, let's have a few drinks and
we'll dig
This
deeper into
gal's
that
for
next
you.
week, I guess.
let's just
Right.
have a fun
Yeah.
time. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, okay, I guess.
Hell yeah.
And so later,
Did you happen to
I go
meet
to the
B
bedroom with someone.
at TezCon, Bill?
And we're
Yes, I
about to do
did.
video.
I was just,
And he says,
yeah.
I can't do
And
this.
then And I said, no problem. And the real trick was putting the names together with, I'm 25 and you're 15.
Oh my goodness.
And I said,
People
no
who don't
problem.
want their faces
and I got
and
up,
names put together with
and
each
I
other,
was
kind of
just,
thing.
that was in general. Yeah, I was, but yeah, but it was awesome. Later on, I did meet him. I did fly back, and then I messaged him direct later after. And I flew back. Yeah, it continued. It's amazing seeing all you folks there. I went to high school. That didn't last. Then I went to an alternative school. That didn't
No, it
last.
was such an amazing
They have
time. It
teachers'
was so cool. I
and then
remember
I
when you
school,
walked in, dude,
one
because
bigger, better things to
I
watch dishes.
had seen
And then
you pictures of you before, so as soon as you walked in the door right away, I was like, damn, that's fucking Bill Knight, man. It was so cool because everybody to me that was walking through the door, like they were my heroes, like people that I collect. Like it was really, I said that over and over. I mean, never mind that I was standing in Fendel's living room while he was playing a saxophone right to me, and Hash Brown's drumming, and frickin' Ryan is over on the keyboard, and we had Yoshi playing guitar. Like my mind was frickin' blown.
And
24 hours a day, 7 days a week when I was in Seattle. That was great. Well, it wasn't 7 days. Yeah, and then just all the people that were at the show, just like I was overwhelmed. I was super overwhelmed.
Because he was, that's the way we roll here in Seattle, right, Fendel? Come with me. And so
how we roll.
They live in Redmond, Washington.
Cool.
And
just kind of because we're talking about Seattle. I mean, heck, that was. What was it like to have your art up on the digital screens? In that large, because I mean, most of your pieces aren't very large, right? If I'm correct.
And the person who rented the studio to me, smallest I have, again, I used stretch canvas. Living there. When I was homeless, new man. I have 9-inch by 9-inch. I packed my stuff. I got on the Greyhound. 11-inch. I sold my car. I shot my buddy with coworker with dropped me on the bus. A few. I got on the Greyhound. I had 12 multiple volumes. I had. But I really prefer 16-inch by 20. That's really my favorite. Myers Jamaican dark room.
60 by 20.
Transport. The bus was packed. It was the old Greyhound. The only seat is right up by the front door. My neighbor, I think he's by the window next to an extremely large Death Star. And I packed in there. And I was drunk up my ass,
coming through the
out.
Walls. He's like,
and
I need some Death Star.
I have to carry bag. Hey, Grip. Hang on a minute. I got paint.
Yeah.
And I took the bill. I took a big swig.
I love it. This is a great show. This is definitely like just hanging out in somebody's,
I said, don't worry, man.
living room.
I thought his neighbor was.
Put the cap on the way. That's the last thing I was
like, you guys won't let me up to talk. I had to come over here.
And I came to in jail. I know it was in Snow County Jail in Santa Rosa because
Bing bong. Oh, it's just
I've been there multiple times.
that's how we are in Seattle.
Yeah.
Superstars just popping over.
A guard comes down, look at his arm. He's crazy. Sorry about that. He told me if I kick his
right, the
door
Death Star is
again,
good. I'm not.
he's gonna really
what am I on tonight?
do me one over. And he said,
I don't have anything as fancy as Death Star. I have.
There's two homeless drunk bums like I
What do
was.
I have tonight? It's not even. It doesn't even. It's got a label on it that has no name. Oh, that's great. I probably picked this one just because it had a clever name.
And I have a 2-hour layover.
Actually, this
then
was
I meet my
Cushion
second
Berry.
brother
Was this
there.
one? That's
And
right.
we go to this bar, get
Cushion
drunk, his
Berry.
truck gets
Are you
towed. So I have to take a taxi.
Are you an indica man or a sativa man
I show
or
up at a bus stop in downtown Seattle. That's what the doctor told me in the beginning. Brian prescribed to me California. A mess. And he picked me up. That's what they prescribed when I got a medical let's go and walk you where you But my doctor's on board, my therapist, man. They said, God, just don't drink, please. That was October 1987.
So you're what we call California sober then.
What fucking ride?
Yeah,
Everything but weed.
Yeah, whatever blows their hair. Sorry to traumatize anybody.
No.
Hey, no, I've been to a couple of parties in San Rosa.
Says, look, Bill, it says the
I'm
only
aware
requirement for
of
memberships is that
how easy it
don't
is
drink
to get drugs and alcohol in that city.
I'm good with it, man.
It's
I mean,
It's up to the parents to get
hey, breakfast is my spot, and friends with flowers, man.
and it has me
I'm
out.
good. It's all
San
sweet.
Rosa, home of Charles and Schultz. And it's wines.
So
How did you make it out to
still have to
Seattle
live
in
there.
the first place? What brought you out there from?
Moved it out.
Montana?
Well,
wow.
I had
As you were
some
telling your story, Bill, of course,
California, and
like,
that's where all
flipping
hell
through your
broke
art here
loose.
and checking out some of your stuff, and so it kind of brings me to a question now.
Damn
So everything you paint,
What's
is
that?
it all from personal
Damn
experiences?
California.
Is it,
This is
from
where I
emotions?
normally
I
break
mean,
into
you're obviously
California
using it as a
politics
tool.
rant
Oh,
yourself.
well.
about our lovely governor.
Or some
Yeah,
of
well, what happened now, I did mention earlier in my story. Give me 1 minute. That was a lot. Mom got breakfast in
Yeah,
bed,
yeah,
and she
no,
was
it's
really
not.
happy. Well, she wasn't
Seriously,
too
go right
happy
ahead, man.
because it
It's your
snowed
show.
a lot in
Jeez.
Great Falls,
Oops.
Montana.
You're the next
She
paint?
said, I went
Williams,
out of the
guest
snow,
night, Bill Knight. Like
and
thank
that's
you for
it.
popping in here tonight.
so they moved.
See a lot of
When I was
friendly
7
faces.
years
and
old
see
to
some
Santa
new
Rosa,
faces in here. See new faces
California,
coming and hanging out with
60
us.
miles north of San
Next week we're gonna have B
Francisco.
on the show, and Willie's gonna try and get to the bottom of
I didn't like that.
what B means.
and I let them know that.
How do you get B just B?
How did you get to be just be?
And my
I wanna
parents,
see
my
what
mom pulled
call
up in
sign.
the
Hang on.
elementary school
There's
and
26
said,
of them.
Bill,
How do
you
you
better
get one of
not
the 26?
screw around
They just
here,
call you
because this
W
guy's got a
if you
poor
want.
education, and they'll whip your
No, there are.
ass.
I know there is,
And
but
sure
that's
enough,
no where I'm going.
He
Yeah.
whipped my
Yeah,
ass.
that's different.
Then they got tired of
I
whipping
don't know.
my
If you
ass
want to just
and
call it
just
one letter, we totally
put
can.
me in the special ed place.
Yeah,
Class
just
was
pick 'em.
Mrs.
You
Mudge,
want me to
but
call
I
you
was home
Z?
by noon. I
Marco,
didn't care, and I was
Z?
drinking by
I
then.
call you Z.
So
Z?
I was a
B,
hellion.
or Z?
Ryan, that's your question. Should we come up and see
Rowdy.
what you got to say while
Yeah,
we
I
go
was,
break here?
I was a
Absolutely,
lush
we're probably
by
do that.
nine.
He thought he missed a train. He thought we were coming in on closing.
Yeah, I was
and,
the
and
youngest
I'm like,
of
oh,
six,
so it's probably
and,
the fuck. Can I have my hand
by
requested?
that time,
No.
yeah,
If he connects
my
up,
mom and
pick up
dad,
with us, 100%.
they'd had it.
100%.
The
Yeah,
youngest of six. That's wild. I mean, you know, I mean, how many? Used to hear like I mean, a lot of the older generation. There was a lot of families, but I guess you had lots of kids because you know, I mean, you had to have kids do hard labor, man. Like you had to have kids out repairing your car. You had to have kids mowing the lawn. You had to have kids milking cows. So everybody had.
If you lost one or two, it wasn't
you
as
want to get on,
devastating.
we're down at, man. You know,
Like for real.
Some of your story,
You know,
heavy
well,
foods,
you got
you know, I'm sure
you got
heavy
two
fouls.
kids, you lose
I mean,
one.
you know, some of us
Pretty hard on
you
you
know,
mentally.
don't think
But you
about
got
those ones
9
as we
kids,
lead
you
those
lose
ones
one, you go,
sometimes.
yeah, that
When
sucks,
somebody does
but
share
we
stuff,
still got
you
these 8 we
appreciate
got to
it, 'cause
worry
it's always,
about.
you know, to put the world in perspective sometimes. And it helps.
It's
It
just
makes
facts.
sense to you.
I got arrested.
Well, actually, I have two stepbrothers.
Yeah,
And
cup hold on us
so,
the first time I smoked pot.
yeah,
I was
that's a
freaking the
whole
fuck
other
out.
show. When I
Just
moved to Seattle, my dad was
That's how they
thrilled.
get you, though. I think that's
He
fun,
attended
them
UW,
arresting you. Is just
and
watching
I
you
was
when you're
sober
high
at
and
the
just
time.
really
I was
had
also
been sober for some time. And I asked him, I said, what year
Shit,
did you
you're my
graduate,
question, Bill. I
Dad,
thought
and
my
what was
question
your
now.
major?
Yeah,
I said, well, I
I
majored
remember
in
your
physical
question.
ed, Bill.
And the question was,
I
if
said,
I'm not
well,
mistaken,
when'd you
you asked
graduate?
me,
He said,
you were looking through my art
well,
on my page, and you mentioned,
I didn't graduate.
with
And
emotional
I
or
said,
something like
why?
that.
What?
It's,
You
yeah,
know, they never
are
told
all
me
of,
to go to college. They
are all
said,
of your paintings always from some kind of emotion, or sometimes you just lay shit down?
You know, worthless, basically.
Yeah,
And then
actually,
he said,
yes,
well,
and no.
I got a
When I
girlfriend.
first started, that would be no, because I was
And I had to go to
you know, kids play cool.
That'll do it.
And so I was
And
Latin
I
there,
said, huh,
just kind of
okay,
like to
there
prove.
you go. And
And
away you went.
as weird as that
You
sounds.
kept going.
And then I did one thing at school, and then I started doing it. And then I would show people, as I mentioned, that really
So I went to California.
more often I did that.
I did not like
Then I
it.
noticed the emotion
Then I had
that goes
alcohol,
into it.
and I didn't
kind of
care. Then I started just
I'll give you an example.
getting loaded.
So my mother that I
really took off
when I did the other year,
grade.
yeah,
And
disrespectful.
yeah, it was really quite the party there. And I distinctly remember when I did first move to Santa Rosa, I remember doing like in the summer. It was like Park and Recs of Santa Rosa. They had stuff
and
in
he
the
treated me
summer.
like an adult, my friend like an adult,
And this was before I got quite
get that.
proficient
And then
again.
we did party later,
And I remember painting and
I
doing
painted my
finger
paintings,
painting,
all Kirby's parts.
and I enjoyed that.
And
I'll
I
never forget that.
And
But
him,
you know,
he died.
that ended quickly because I mean, that principal and beat the shit out of me at home. And, oh man, my parents would have it out.
Don't forget
Anyways, so I went to junior high, and
never got out of my
yeah,
house.
it was rough. I got suspended, but it was interesting because when I got suspended,
my siblings,
my mother worked at a private swim and racket club called Oak Park Swim and Racket. She did the booking, ran everything, and you know, my dad knew the owner for many years. And so when I would get suspended, I would go across the street and go swim. And there's a park connected to it, and I'd go out there and go burn the joint. And then when I'm getting stoned, they have a snack bar where I can put stuff on credit. So I'll chow down and then go hang out and maybe get lucky.
That's my kind of. That's not how conventions ever went.
Yeah, until one time the cops showed up, but addiction, you know, they didn't take me to jail, they just took me across the street again. And I was, yeah. Yeah, until I got caught selling,
Anyway,
what the hell was I was selling weed, Vicodin, or Valium, there's Little Helper. So then they put me in what they call the opportunity class.
20 years of writing, and I've been in a financial
And that class was run by a man that was a giant and he was fierce, and he was mean, and he was vicious. I mean, he was. You would stand still, you know, during the lunch breaks and everything when he was coming, and he watched you, and he was the teacher, and he would escort us to his main bathroom because we were the bad boys. No idea. And I didn't care. I obeyed the rules, and he and I were cool.
He looked at me and said, "Here's some options. You can do this,
But you know what? But he was released at 12 noon.
You get married, divorced.
Where everybody's parents are still at work.
If
So
you
I
get
go
it.
down the street to Felix's house, and he's the youngest of a Filipino
And then,
family.
sure
And they got a lot of brothers and sisters, and we went over
Yeah,
there
well,
and
I
just
think you
partied
would
with each
because
other all the time.
you're
That
brother.
was the deal.
And I think he probably. So
And now I just got
Said
drunk, did
I
drugs,
made a phone call because his supervisor
and then yeah, it was real bad. And then my parents said,
put $150,000 sleep.
"How would you like to
Didn't
move
believe
back to
So I
Montana
had to do a conference call with the manager, the regional,
and live with your
manager,
third oldest brother,
these people.
who, by the way, they left to
That
Montana
conference call. We discussed
at 18 years old because they wouldn't follow mine. My brother
and I
wouldn't
told them
follow
they
those
every
rules.
document.
He was
They
partying and doing
They stopped
shit.
the conference call. And they were
And
they were
then,
shocked. They were like, wow, great. So the day
They
came.
left him there.
Keep in mind, I still had some
They
gas
just
in my
left him
pocket.
there
I relapsed.
in Great Falls, Montana.
And I said,
The
hey,
resources.
and I said, you know, come down. You're still coming down, aren't you? I said, yeah. I said, but I'm drinking, man. I got 4 business.
Later,
I roll out of bed at 7
They
a.m.
got
and I
arrested
drink
for selling hash
until I'm
with minors in Great Falls, Montana, and almost went to prison. I mean,
the social
that
security
was
disability
serious back
and
then.
just, you know, scrapping money.
And my father
I
knew
mean,
people and
not eating, really.
got him into
You know,
junior
and so,
college where he
I
got
had,
a degree in electronics and
went to,
avoided prison.
you know, I was drinking and I
So
told
they
him,
set him
hey,
up with a house
I
and
had
asked me
business.
if
And I
I'd
said,
like to go back.
I know that. And he goes,
But they
I
knew
do.
he was violent.
I work for you, Bill.
They
But
knew
you
he was
or
an
not,
addict
I work
alcoholic.
for you. And I pay every day that you get sober.
And I was so thrilled to go back
And I said,
because I
"Yeah,
can learn from the
So I
master
went down there.
himself.
King, my brother.
And he knew how to
I go
party.
down there.
And so I moved up there and it
I
was
have,
hot. We partied.
Gone into the building.
I got bullied, but I had
I went
5
44
belts
floors
of
up.
Chinese
Went to
Kempo
receptionist
because
desk.
I didn't like basketball
And,
and football, but my
it was
parents said,
really
well, let's try martial arts, and they realized
what
that
we-
was not a
they
good
came
idea
around the corner,
because I was kicking a few
And I
asses.
remember each one of us.
And then
tried
so
to be fighting
I
like
moved up there when I was
Just-
my first sophomore. I was a
Drunk
sophomore
alcohol.
in high school,
put into her place.
Great Falls
So
High,
he said, Bill, I'm glad
and
you're
I
calm.
was
Let's go.
bullied
So we
all the
listened to
time.
this
No one hit me, and I didn't do
It's a
anything.
beautiful, huge conference room overlooking
And
waterfront, piers,
people were
And,
shocked that I would move from California to
Wednesday
Great
Bill,
Falls,
coffee,
Montana,
Coke, donuts. I'll just bring it all.
and asked
Okay,
me
David,
why
I'm good.
would I do
you know,
something
here's my warehouse.
extraordinarily
And
stupid
I walked
like
over,
that. And they didn't
and I
believe
looked out
I
the window,
did it. And actually,
and I
I
see
had
his
a
warehouse.
California
Up
ID
here
and
at
showed
48.
them.
What I used to see.
And I said, I'll tell you
Homeless.
why. Because my mother and father are still there,
I was at that
and
warehouse.
my brother is at home.
It was silver. Because
And we're going to have some beers when I get
And you have to
back.
be there at 8 p.m. and they take out at 5:30 a.m. And I looked down
And
and
guess
I saw
what?
that warehouse.
Everybody followed
And
me
they
to
walked
my
in.
house, and we're partying.
I mean, yeah,
And it was on, and it just was
unbelievable.
chaos.
I'm standing by the
drunk,
window, and he goes,
we got
"Okay."
into fights, and you
I
know,
turned
oh,
around.
yeah, sure, I
Yeah.
had 5 belts of Chinese martial arts.
Okay.
I'm a little sport, and he's, what was
I said,
he was 6'4",
"Here,
275. He was like a wrestling champ.
You see
in
that warehouse down there
Montana.
after 48? He goes, yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
got
where
the
I saw
better
it.
of me until I
Until January
fortunately broke a bottle and
of 2008.
almost killed
And
him.
that's why
He was
I-
on top of me, on top of my queen
He said,
size
"Bill,
bed,
never
beating
invest
me
in
out.
your life. You're not going to get another opportunity
And I broke
because
the bottle
your mother
and
and
cut his
father
throat.
didn't leave you money.
Then I jumped out the window and ran
But I
down
didn't
to the
know.
Great
Because
Falls.
he said, I felt
Montana
real
Police
cold.
Department.
And it was funny because Colorado has home truck
Covered
Santa
in blood.
on the railroad tracks
They
where
asked
there's
me
no
if I
railroad.
pressed charges, and I said, no, I don't.
You probably know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so I didn't take
Because
you
he
there.
almost
I
went to
you know,
prison.
with my posse.
And I love my
And I
brother.
called my mom. Welcome when they're I love her.
So I
But
decided
anyway, so yeah, it
to
was
just
a hard day. And it's really
surrender
funny
to the
because,
cops, whatever.
you know, that
They took me
place,
to the
I got out
hospital.
from this guy who I still see to this day, homeless on the street,
You know,
and completely
paralyzed and all that,
emaciated,
and
with,
beat
you
up
know,
pretty good. But I lived.
It's just super sad. But he's one of the
We
ones
had a
that I knew
runaway
at
house.
And I did 6 tours duty at Salvation Army, 3 in Northern
The
California.
runaway
straight
house
out
is
of
very
Healdsburg,
large.
and then here in
A lot of
Advance, yeah, and
kids.
never graduated.
The next,
But
you know, I
yeah,
told
one
him I
of
never
the-
wanted to see my brother again. My
Anyway,
parents
yeah,
were told
that
they tried
really
to
helped
help
me
me
with
fast
that.
as
My
my
brother, I
wife
painted that painting.
on
That was
Western
really
Airlines,
and
and
then,
shows how old it
one of
was.
my friends actually loved that painting.
And,
And then
I had
and he gave me a leather coat.
told them I never
Actually,
wanted to see him
yeah,
again.
yeah,
And the
yeah,
very
yeah.
next day,
He
they
dropped
brought
it
me in
down
the living room, and he was sitting there. anyways, in the living room. And I said, I told you. And they said, Bill, sit down, you gotta work this out. Because you can't stay here in a while. And I said, what? And they said, you have to go back with your brother. And I said, okay. And then we talked. And we argued. And he said he overheard me say something to my girlfriend at the time, Roxanne. Or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember that part. Laundry drawer. All right. And then he said, I said, look what you did to me. And then he pointed to his throat and said, look what you did to me. And the guy says, okay. I went to the doctor this morning. He said, listen. And I said, hey, what's up, bro? Quarter-inch TV, you would have been dead 10 minutes. And then you can take a shower. I'm like, no shit. Yeah, you can take a shower all day. You sit there reading a book. And he never did. Man, it's sweet, dude. And you're watching people's stuff. And I did. Then he said to me, I will not go back to the house. You can have the house to yourself. I will get a hotel room. In the mornings, I wake up really early. And I would go to the board because I said, all right. I went back to the house. I had the house to myself. I had drinking, getting high. I'd go to the YTA. I'd hop in the hot tub. And then I'd come home. Less people snoring. The effervescent of others like that be. And then he comes home. I hop in the shower. And then I hop on the bus and go to meet at 7 a.m. And he comes home from the bar up in the Ballard area in Seattle. I meet the guys, I don't care, they have to eat screw around all day. We worked like 4 or 5 hours, like, I don't know, lot of cash, $60 for nothing. And that was my first money attempts. And then dropped me off at that homeless shelter where what happened was, standing around, came into the house, high in there, and I hopped out of the pickup truck, and he had 2 women with him, with a 40-yard car, and he said, hey, Bill, sorry I said I wasn't coming back. Hey, listen, I wanted to make an apology to you. We're all here, let's have a few drinks. This gal's for you. Let's have a fun time. And, that was an experience. And I said, that was okay, I guess. That was the cream of the crop. That man who was going through some later, he said, go to the bedroom. The homeless people turn me up there. You get a vendor for men who are trying to do the deal. They kind of get their leg going. They can get. He says, I can't do this. Take showers. And I said, no problem. If you have a nighttime job, you can sleep during the day. He goes, they give you guidelines to take your job. I'm 25, and you're 50 high. I said, no shit. And I said, no problem. And I got up. The guy looked at me when I did the interview. I was just, he asked me if I had a belly. That was the way. No. And, I was brought up. He looked at me and said, you're the first kid. And it fucked my whole life. What are you doing here? But, and I said, I can't say I'm later on, I did fly back. And he goes, okay, well, Mitch. I said, okay, and they have different tiers. And one tier on the floor, I flew back, if you don't get kicked out, you go up to, actually, that's the third floor. The next tier, that's where I was at. Then you got a cubicle, you got a locker, you got a bed, and man, you were living large. And, high hours, that didn't last. Then I went to an alternative school, that didn't last. And, but then they had a teacher's strike, and then I quit school. From went on to bigger and better things to wash dishes. I was on my road to death. And then, I went into private school, and they one last shot called School of Creative. I lived on TV. That was my first national television appearance on teachers got stoned. I was in the Compass Center, and it was like a gentleman school. It was really cool. Very nice person, but I couldn't stay sober. I had a motorcycle, and he was always fighting with a guy up there who has lived up there for 2 years. You couldn't kick this guy out. It was like living at home with me. And then my parents finally had enough and kicked me out again. And I slept out in front of a car that I bought from a guy across the street that had a broken A-arm. Fast forward to January 8th. 71 Sebring satellite. I called it the mobile home because I bought it for $150. Never paid the guy. He was an editor on the paper on the home issue. I think I slept in the thing, and it's a core. I didn't know what to do. I just had to get out. So I moved in there. Talk about shame on my parents. I watched TV. And then let me in. There was a shower. They said, you're not coming in because I come in. No shit, we do. I saw one down. So I'm back in the kitchen cooking stuff. But no. Straight up, it was yeah, so I just converted over 10 years to just had like on the dress side. Flounder into I was bouncing around couch to couch, and then old still around there. finally had some consistent employment, and that was generated by lots of alcohol and him was big fight. And other drugs. And then our friend Gator, the man ran out of the house. Who I grew up with, I knew in Santa Rosa since 8 years old, moved to Seattle, Washington. Anyways, in a roundabout way, I got he moved to Seattle, Washington in the early 80s because he was and he got to die on cocaine. I say that because along with me, my mother gave contact. And so he moved up there. His sister and her husband moved up there. They lived in Redmond, Washington. Then he told me you have to move up here. Seattle is the place. So I sold my shotgun. So I slept with. I left my studio apartment in a trashed state. In a trash state. Sorry about that. And the person who rented that studio to me was my other sister's husband. Who didn't let me live in there because I was homeless and moved in and I screwed him over. I packed my stuff. I got on the Greyhound. I sold my car and my shotgun to my buddy I was a co-worker with. He dropped me off the bus. I was on the Greyhound. I had a bottle full of values. I had $500. I had a half ounce of weed. And I had a pint of, anyways,
Hell yeah, dog, make the world go round.
Myers Jamaican dark rum.
Much can't go anymore. Like,
And the bus was packed. It was the old Greyhound.
Okay, Bill. I know you might admit it after that story, but
The only seat right
I was
outside
gonna say
the
you could
front
sign
door.
we totally skip all that over. I think we did him some paper to put me away.
By the window. Oh yeah, and I packed in there,
Okay, it's just I
and
had
I was drunk off my ass, freaking out. And so I have this little carrying bag with magazines. And, I felt for it, and I broke out tonight, and I took a pill, of Valium, and I took a big swig, and the lady looked at me mortified, and she said, she was speechless, and I said, don't worry, ma'am, it's medicinal purposes only. And I put the cap on, and I put it away, and that's the last thing I remember. And he said, no, because we had that 3% increase. And then I came to in a jail cell. And I knew it wasn't Sonoma County Jail in Santa Rosa because I've been there multiple times in the 4 hours drunk back in those days. They kick you out. So I kick the door, and a guard comes down. I look at his uniform. It's from Eureka, California. He told me if I kick his door again, he's going to really do me one over. And he said, you bought yourself 4 hours to sit down and shut the fuck up. And there's two homeless drunk bums like I was there, and I was like, okay. Then he let me out. Get back on the bus. Then I have a 2-hour layover. Then I meet my second oldest brother there. And we go to this bar, get drunk.
I just want to come up here and show some love, but just say hey, like super proud of you, and it's nice to hear you on the ground, and always feel special to hear your story and share with lovely people. And if you're listening to this, like you guys are the real ones. Like this is incredible. And you like Bill, or it is not about this. This is way bigger than this. This is not all money. This is about friendship. This is about connection and support. And I just appreciate you guys for being here today. And I just want to come out and show us love, though. Also appreciate you, Bill, and I love you guys. I'll let you go. You guys want to tackle later? I'll tell more. So the next one.
That I know nothing about. You sit on the patio and drink Bloody Marys. And that was the start.
And that's how we.
And that was October 20th, 1987. Sure. I did.
Man.
Well, I was drinking.
What a fucking.
Holy.
My goodness.
Sorry to traumatize anybody.
No, I've been to a couple house parties in Santa Rosa when I was 15. I'm well aware of how easy it is get drugs and alcohol from that. It's wild.
Okay, so remember that. So then,
It's a fucking parents do not give a shit. Everyone I've known that was from there has addiction problems.
And they withdrew and they wanted more than profit. I looked into it and found that
Santa Rosa, the home of Charles and Schultz, and Intent Wines, though. So,
physical, mental, sexual,
they still have family up there, and wines up there.
I called them, I rotated, and I applied, and it's a non-profit. So I applied, I met the criteria, I presented my plans, and they got, great stuff, great fill out applications that are doable. Thank God, and so
wow, like as you were telling your story, Bill, of course, I'm flipping through your art here and checking out some of your stuff, and so it kind of brings me to a question now. So everything you paint, is it all from personal experiences? Is it from emotions and stuff? I mean, you're obviously using it as a tool to help yourself, right? Or some.
Yeah, moreover now,
and it was
yeah, let me think of it. So, can I give me 1 minute? That was a lot.
And they had this resource on the free Friday.
Yeah.
1 p.m.
Yep. No,
I'm so
absolutely.
lonely. Because I'm
Seriously, go right ahead, man. It's your show.
If you write
It's your damn show. Folks, you're listening to The Night Train. Willie and Bits, our guest tonight, Bill Knight. I'd like to thank you all for popping in here tonight.
And
See a lot of friendly faces in here. See some new faces in here. Appreciate the new faces coming in, hanging out with us. Next week we're gonna have B on the show, and Willie's gonna try and get to the bottom of what B means, or if there's more.
How did you get to be?
How did you get to be just B?
I want a singular call sign. Come on, what's going on?
I could just,
One of the 26.
I could just call you W if you want to go.
No, there's already a W.
Oh, there is, but that was kind of where the joke where I was going.
You're right. I totally missed the joke on that.
I don't know. If you want us to just call you one letter, Willie, we don't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pick one, man. You want me to call you Zed? Or I can go. Or I can call you Z if you. Z? You want to be Z or Zed?
Ryan Anderson, can you bring him up and see what he's got to say while we get Bill a break here?
Absolutely.
Yeah, go for it.
He thought he missed the train. He thought we were coming in on the closing, and I'm like, oh. So he's probably like, fuck, did I have my hand up requested? Oh, no. If he connects up, we can connect up with him for sure. 100%. 100% we can. 100%. Go another Fender De La Creme. Oh, yeah. No. Absolutely.
Unless somebody wants to come in and say howdy.
No, give her, go ahead. Ryan's still connecting, and Fendel's up here. He knows he can drop open the mic whenever he'd like as well. So if you want to answer that question. And Bill, just to let you know, of course, I mean, anything you don't want to talk about or whatever, feel free. You can stop and start as many times as you want. This is your show. We are here to listen to you, and whatever journey you want to take us on, we're down for that, man. Listening to some of your story, I mean, it's heavy for you. It's, I'm sure a lot of us here, it's heavy for us. I mean, some of us, don't think about those lives because we didn't lead those lives. So it's when somebody does share stuff like that, I do appreciate it because it's always, good to put the world into perspective sometimes. It helps if that makes any sense to you.
I almost got arrested at Luma. The first time I smoked pot. Cops rolled up on us the very first time I smoked pot. I was freaking the fuck out.
That's how they get you, though. I think that's more fun to them than arresting you is just watching. They know you're high.
I was also
right? Shit. Do you remember my question, Bill? I don't remember my question.
Yeah, I remember my question, but I remember your question. And your question was, if I'm not mistaken, you were looking through my art on my page, and you mentioned does it, help me with emotional or something like that? I don't know how to put it, I believe.
It's are all of your are all of your paintings always from some kind of emotion or sometimes you lay shit down?
Yeah, actually, yes and no. When I first started beach, no, because I didn't think I was still an artist, you know. I mean, I was, you know, it's like cool. And yes, and so I would just slap paint on there, just to kind of, but I guess prove, I don't know, myself wrong. As weird as that sounds. And then I did one painting. I thought, oh, this is cool. And then I just started doing it. And then I would show people, as I mentioned, that really freaked me out. The more often I did that, then I noticed the emotion that goes into it. It's kind of wild. Well, I'll give you an example. Okay, so my brother that I just mentioned, his name is Herbie. Okay, and when I lived with him that year, he taught me everything. I mean, he taught me what my dad, my dad tried to teach me because I was disrespectful, flat out. Gratefully, I made amends to him before he passed, but my brother Herbie taught me a lot, and he took me to my very first concert when I was like 16 with my then lady friend, and they kind of took us to see Kiss at the Cow Palace with Cheap Trick. And I think anyway, and I'll never forget that. And he treated me like an adult, my friend like an adult. We weren't boyfriend, girlfriend, just friends. And I'll never forget that. And then we did party later, but I painted one of my paintings. It's called Herbie's Heart. And that's a painting I painted in honor of him because he died I don't know if he's sober or not. I know he did not like me, allegedly. And I did not like him because I was a homeless alcoholic in Seattle, Skid Row. I hit it big, and he was really disappointed. And he tried to act like my dad who passed away. But I'll never forget, I told him I loved him, even though he told me he was dying together. And I said, go ahead, I'm trying now. And but I never forget, I told him the last conversation was when my mother passed in October 2007. I figured I'd call him. Might be a good idea, right? Your mom died. What the hell? Let's give it a whack. And I found out how my mother died because I was homeless still. Through a letter from her attorney saying our apologies for your mother passing. Because my mom wrote me off a long time ago, as well as the rest of her, my siblings. She wrote us all a letter because she had a new boyfriend that my older sister introduced her to. That created her addiction to alcoholism, but so my brother Herbie died at 58 years old, and he never married, and he made a lot of money. When he died, he was very successful. He was about sex, drugs, rock and roll, strippers, party, but towards the end, he rented a room from a couple, an older couple. I got to meet them, and they were amazing. But he died, and I found out that he left me 30% of a Prudential life insurance policy. And that came at a point where I could not get sober. I was in an apartment now. I was in low-income housing, HUD housing, Seattle Housing Authority, in Belltown, where that routine was. Where I almost died. Well, actually, died. And He left me $180,000. I was receiving Social Security disability because the University of Washington put me on it because they took me off the Northeast overpass.
With the longest month around for you. We're bringing you back
In Bellevue,
to
over
the
the
program. We got
4 or
lucky
5
cards.
years, I was going
Which
to kill
a little
myself
team for you.
in a
Bring everybody
blackout.
back to the room. Shout all night. Let's get
So the University of Washington said, we're putting you on disability. So I was on disability. And now I have $180,000 and I'm going to kill myself, I guess, until this one man who I knew close to that meeting recovery and sobriety and addiction. He knew what was going on.
I can say like, man, I know we know nothing out there. I love your latest phone. Is that tree? Kind of flat out later.
And I was terrified.
a couple times with Chandon. And the museum came over on the street, working together, for a couple years.
Yeah.
Everybody in the States, and they go,
I don't gamble at all.
play music together, and Ashton and I were
Anyways.
so go real like
So he and I went
to
to
build back there on stage.
lunch. I showed him a letter. He said to me, he goes, Bill, I've known you for 8 years. And this man had 25 years, 28 years of sobriety.
Not about, the 3-4 minute radio tracks and more like ideal, music or like as we were saying, his band, his band, the tracks kind of line on, like, not really worrying about like replay, we'll say, and we should have the length tracks,
You need help.
the one idea, back in the day.
Because you're going to die. It's over. And I said, you're right. So I didn't get the money for 2 months. And that's what he told me. You're not going to get any money. So we're going to meet multiple times. And after meeting 3 times at the base of the Columbia Tower, the tallest building in Seattle, Washington, in a booth with his name on it with a plaque. That's how many deals this guy had done. He tells me I had no idea. I never ate that good in my entire life. And so he gave me options. He looked at me and said, here's some options. You can do this, that, or the other thing. But I think you should do this because you can't get to it, Phil.
It's hard to get out of the system, like, I don't know, like space or anything.
No money, they can't get it. And you can't drink it.
You guys have to room, not to week around. Jazz movie a full feature story. It's not a documentary.
Sure enough,
It's based on true story, but it's the best stuff ever made, and never ever be other like so if like it is worth pretty much worth and some men the Bronco totally it has all the rates of that era. No, it's 60 or has been and it's a beautiful film and you can watch that and with yours and that has to happen.
So,
that's my concern. Yeah, I'm more than happy and that's more like Evelyn opera and early
I get a phone
Americana.
call because his
What I would say after
supervising
is that
management
it's
team
a
did
so
not
I
believe
think
a man on
Charles and
Social
and Junior etc.
Security
But the initial working that's what I did. And I was interested in that film. I mean, 59
put
in the
$150,000.
United States and the world because of nuclear news. I have a copy and copy that film. It is
Didn't
very
believe him.
really cool.
So I had to do a conference call with the manager,
it's
the
extraordinary
regional
and it should be like the Lions Americans
manager, district manager,
because of
all these people. And Dave and I talked about it before that conference call. And we discussed what we're doing. And I knew exactly what I was doing. Sound mind. And I told them, I acknowledged every document. And they said, okay. They got off the conference call and they were shocked. They were like, wow, that's great. So the day came. Keep in mind, I still had some cash floating in my pocket, and I drinking again. I called Dave, my buddy, and I said, Dave, and I said, I'm coming down. He goes, but he's still coming down, aren't you? I said, yeah. I said, but I'm drinking, man. I already got 4 beers. And he's like, I roll out of bed at 7 a.m. and I drink until 9 p.m. with a 2 p.m. boost. And I drink 3 6-packs of IPA a day. And it's a block from Trader Joe's. So I'm juiced all day long, right? With a Social Security disability and just, scrapping money, whatever, not eating, clearly, just drinking, and so, went to, you know, I was drinking, and I told him, Dave, I'm drinking, and I had 4 beers in me, and I said, you know, I don't know, man. And he goes,
it certainly does it because
I
love the art,
do.
where the art is coming from is inside you. So I mean,
I work for you, Bill, whether you're drinking or not.
Any friend of Mark's,
I work for you.
pretty good. Mark didn't,
And I pray every day that you get sober. But I think you should come down here and sign it. And I said, I'll be right down. So I went down there, thinking of my brother. I go down there, and I have gone into the building, the Columbia Tower. I went 44 floors up. I went to the receptionist desk.
Yeah. Like I said,
And
there's
it was really elaborate, beautiful office. He welcomed me. Dave came around the corner, and I remember he's one of us. He's not a big financial much. He's just, you know, drunk bum like me, but in a different place. So he said, Bill, I'm glad you're here. Come on, let's go. So he whisks me away into this conference room. And this is a beautiful, huge conference room overlooking Elliott Bay, waterfront, piers. And Dave says, you want anything, Bill? Coffee, Coke, donuts? I'll just bring it all. I said, okay, Dave, whatever, you know, I'm good. And, you know,
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.
Over, and I look out the window, and I see this warehouse on Pier 48.
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.
When I was homeless. And I was in that
The Night Train
warehouse,
with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.
and I was sober, because you had to be sober to get in there. And you have to be in there at 8 p.m. and they kick you
The
out
Night Train
at
with
5:30
Willie and
a.m.
Bits on WX8 BK.
And I looked down and I saw that warehouse. And Dave walked in and he said, "Here you
The
go,
Night
Bill,
Train
got all
with
kinds
Willie
of
and
great
Bits
stuff."
on
And he had
WX8
all kinds of
BK.
stuff that just was unbelievable. And I'm standing by the window and he goes, "Bill, come here. What do you know?"
The
what's
Night
up?"
Train with Willie and Bits on
And I
WX8
turned
BK.
around and he asked, "Are you okay?" And
The Night Train with Willie and Bits
I
on
said,
WX8 BK.
"Come here a minute, Dave. I'm going to show you something." And I said, "Do you see that warehouse down there on Pier 48?"
The Night Train with
He goes,
Willie
"Yeah."
and Bits
I
on
said, "That's where I
WX8 BK.
until January
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.
and that's where I slept when I was a homeless guy." And he said, "Right on, Bill. Now you've been investing in your life.
The Night
You know
Train
you're
with
not gonna
Willie
get
and
another
Bits on
opportunity
WX8
because
BK.
your mother and father didn't leave you any money. You know, my mom wrote me a letter telling me to kick rocks. But I didn't.
The Night
you know,
Train
I
with
was a
Willie and
city
Bits
son,
on
and I followed through. I
WX8
called her. I
BK.
didn't care. And it was funny because I called her when I was a homeless drunk in Santa Rosa on the railroad tracks where there's no railroad.
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.
You probably know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so I'm getting tanked at the railroad, the railroad, spot.
The Night Train with Willie and Bits on WX8 BK.
Bumped gums with her and told her I love her, and that was the last I talked to her. But anyway, so yeah, it really.
The Night Train with Willie and Bits
and
on
it was really funny
WX8
because,
BK.
that place I found out about from this guy who I still see to this day.
homeless
The
on the
Night Train
street
with Willie and
and
Bits on
completely
WX8BK.
emaciated, you know, the opiate addiction here in Seattle. And it's just super sad. But he's the one that told me about it. And
The
I
Night
met him
Train
at the
with Willie
Salvation
and
Army.
Bits on
And I did 6
WX8BK.
tours of duty at the Salvation Army, 3 in Northern California at Lytton Springs outside of Healdsburg, and then here in downtown Seattle.
The
And I
Night
never
Train with
graduated.
Willie and Bits on
But,
WX8BK.
yeah, that was one of many pieces of it. But anyways, yeah, the art does really help me with.
The Night
That's when
Train
my
with
brother, when
Willie
I
and
painted
Bits
that
on
painting, that was
WX8BK.
really emotional. And then one of my friends actually loved that painting, and he wanted just a print out or whatever. And I said,
The
yeah,
Night
I'll
Train
carry
with
it.
Willie and
And
Bits
then
on
he is
WX8BK.
very well off, and he's given me a leather coat in the past. He's actually the gentleman who gave me a job. He picked me up at that warehouse.
The
And
Night
he
Train
dropped
with
me off
Willie
at that
and Bits
warehouse
on
after I'd worked all day for him.
WX8BK.
And anyway, so fast forward, he said, I really want that painting, Bill. And I just bought
The
this
Night Train
beautiful
with
new
Willie
full
and
length leather
Bits on
coat. And I'll trade you my
WX8BK.
brother, Mike's coat, who I work with and who is deceased. He's deceased. He's passed. And I said, I cannot take
The
it.
Night Train
He said,
with Willie and Bits
absolutely
on
take it. Mike likes
WX8BK.
it. He wants you to have it. And your brother's art will be in my house and honored. And that just blew my mind.
The Night
wide
Train
open.
with
And
Willie
it's
and
just
Bits
a
on
killer coat. And
WX8BK.
yeah, it's something else, you know. And that guy, he, you know,
The Night Train
would
with Willie and
go to
Bits
that
on
warehouse,
WX8BK.
and in the morning, when I would leave at 5:30 in the morning because I didn't want to get into any drama and problems and fights, you know.
The Night
And you
Train
have
with
to do
Willie
a
and
chore.
Bits on
Your first chore, you have to
WX8BK.
be security. You have to stay up all night, and that fucking terrified me because people were.
The Night Train with Willie and
People
Bits
with
on
overdose
WX8BK.
and possible assaults, maybe, you know. But I was
The Night Train
luckily
with Willie and
my
Bits
first
on
night.
WX8BK.
I did it. Nothing happened. And then, of course, I'm kind of a chummy fella, so I start chatting this one cat.
The
And he
Night
tells me
Train
the
with
whole
Willie
scoop
and
and
Bits
what's
on
going down here. He said, no, I'll tell you the
WX8BK.
deal. You got to get the laundry chore. I said, I don't want to wash your stuff. Trust me. Laundry chore.
The Night Train with
All
Willie and
right.
Bits on
They load us up in this
WX8BK.
van with the bedding. They take us up to this old hotel. And
The Night Train
the
with Willie
Malala,
and Bits on
I don't even remember what it was. It's up on
WX8BK.
there in Aurora. And we go and do the laundry. And the guy says, okay, well, I'm going to take off for a while. I'll be back. And then
The
he
Night
come
Train
back,
with
he's
Willie and Bits
stoned.
on
And I said, oh, hey, what's up, bro?
WX8BK.
He goes, oh, I just come back. It's all good. And then, you know, it was cool. And then you could take a shower. And I'm like, no shit.
The Night Train
Yeah,
with
so you
Willie
take a
and Bits
shower,
on
they had a buffet, you can eat all
WX8BK.
day, you're sitting there reading a book. Man, it's sweet, dude. And you're washing people's stuff. And actually, yeah, you did have their clothes in there. That's right. But, you know, I mean, hell, I was in with the crew, man. And it was off the hook. And then in the mornings, I would wake up really early and I would go to the 4th Avenue YMCA because I'm on disability and I got a discount rate. And I had a locker that I rented for $8. In that locker, I had my birth certificate, I had important documents, and I had 3 sets of clothes. And I'd go to the YMCA, I'd hop in the hot tub, relax after sleeping on that mat, and listen to people snoring and the effervescent scent of others like that, me. And, you know, I hop in the shower, and then I hop on the bus, and I go to a meeting at 7 a.m. way up north, up in the Ballard area in Seattle. I go to the 7 a.m. meeting. I meet this guy. We hop in his truck, and we go screw around all day. Go to meetings. We'd work like maybe 4 or 5 hours. You'd give me like, I don't know, a lot of cash, $50, $60 for nothing work. buy me lunch, and then drop me off at that homeless shelter warehouse on the pier where everybody's standing around, you know, trying not to get caught high in there. And they hop out of this pickup truck, you know, put together, sober, with a $40 cigar hanging out of my mouth and a pocket full of money and a smile on my face. And I'll say, I'll see you tomorrow, John. And he laughs and he pulls off. And I say, hey, gang, what's up? And then we're all bullshitting and laughing. They're telling their stories about the escapades of the day. And I was off the hook, man. And then after that, I got into the Lutheran Compass Center. And yeah, that was an experience. And that's where that guy who told me that was the cream of the crop, that man who is still on the streets to this day, he said, yeah, if you get in there, that's the deal. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, check this out, Bill. The homeless people can get their mail there. You can get a bank there for men who are trying to get child support. You know, they can kind of get their legs going. They can, you know, get child support paid. They can take showers. They can do laundry. And get this, Bill, if you have a nighttime job, you can sleep during the day. They give you a sack lunch to take to your job, and you get, you know, all your needs met. And I just don't get high. And I said, no shit. So I applied, and the guy looked at me when I did the interview, and, you know, he asked me if I had any felonies. I said, no. He asked if I'd been to King County Jail. I said, no. And, you know, I was kind of perplexed. And then he looked at me and he says, you know, you look pretty put together for a homeless guy. What are you doing here? And I said, I just can't stop drinking, man. I just can't. And I'm fucked. And he goes, okay, well, we'll submit you. And I said, okay. And they have different tiers. One tier on the third floor, that's your first tier for 30 days. If you don't screw up and get kicked out, then you go up to the next tier. Actually, that was the third floor, was the next tier. And that's where I was at. And then you got a cubicle, you got a locker, you got a bed, and man, you were living large. And you had stall showers, and you just had to do a minor chore, no big deal. You had a TV room, a smoking room. I didn't smoke cigarettes, and you know, but man, it was Seattle, Washington saved my life from their nonprofits and entities here, and they, you know, just I was on my road to death and looking forward to it. You know, I was eager. I was ready to pop the clutch on that deal. But I stayed there, and then then I later moved out and actually was on TV. That was my first national television appearance on America's Most Wanted. I'll let that settle in for a minute. Yeah, I was in the Compass Center, and there was a gentleman who was on the fourth floor. Very nice person, looked very put together. You'd never think he was homeless. And he was always fighting with a guy up there who has lived up there for 2 years. You couldn't kick this guy out. It was like living at home with mom for me. And they were, you know, he would always get in this fight about the window being open, because the central heating and air conditioning was all fucked up, right? It's winter, and everybody's got the window. It was a mess, right? So they're always fighting about it. And the guy was getting pretty upset about it. Well, fast forward to January 8th, I get an apartment. I'm thrilled. But everybody I knew in recovery said, you'll never stay sober in Bell Tower and you're going to die. And I said, oh, okay. Well, then I won't move in. And they said, that's a smart decision. I said, when do you want me to come over to your house and sleep on your couch? Because I'm homeless, pal. I don't know what. I picked Bell Tower because that's the most number of apartments. I didn't care who's doing dope out on First Ave. You know, I knew I'd be there soon. I didn't know what to do. I just had to get out of there. So I moved in there and I was watching TV. America's Most Wanted came on, and there was a trailer, and there was Roger. And I was like, huh, no shit, what'd he do? I guess I'll find out. So I went back in the kitchen cooking stuff, and sure enough, it was him. And apparently, he does have an issue with air conditioning because in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, apparently he utilized a stolen identity from a Cadillac he stole in Atlanta, Georgia at a construction site. He stole the gentleman's ID. He was a veteran and he received veterans benefits. He moved into a assisted senior living with a roommate who was an immigrant from the Russian area, Baltic, somewhere around there. He was an immigrant. He married, raised a family, and retired in Florida, living out the rest of his life in peace. But Roger was always arguing about the air conditioner. And the guy was so pissed and hammering on him, and it was a big fight. Well, Roger recruited one of his friends. Roger proceeded to take a 5-gallon gas can mixed with diesel, saturated the man, and lit him on fire. The man ran out of the house. Everyone's trying to put him out. They helivaced him to the hospital in excruciating pain and later died. His son, who lived in Chicago, was a successful father and businessman, came on the show and shared about his father. And Roger was nowhere to be seen. His culprit and his cohort was caught and spilled the beans. And then so Roger did that, and he lived with me. And I share that because, you know, my mother gave me a letter saying, don't contact me. You know, my mother and other people called me stupid. And why can't you be more like other people like your sister or brother, or mostly my other sister, alleged sister. That's a whole other show. But, you know, and now I'm in lodging with a murderer. And that pierced my heart. And so I called and I told him I knew him. I told him I saw him 2 weeks ago in passing. I said, hey, Roger, how's it going? Great. Yeah, I got a place in West Seattle. Thanks. Yeah, see you later. Bye-bye. And they said, okay, we'll get back to you. Well, it wasn't my call that got him arrested. It was his roommate's call that got him arrested because he knew Roger was going to be at the VA hospital following up on aftercare on an open heart surgery he received at the VA hospital with that man's stolen identification. And he was going to be coming home at this time. The police surrounded, staked out the area, and they busted him. And they hauled him out. They brought him back to Florida, and they prosecuted him. Then I get a phone call, and it's America's Most Wanted. And I'm thinking, oh, Jesus, they want me to go on TV. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I don't know what to do, man. And I don't know. And I'm just like, shit, okay, if it can help somebody. They wanted to do it in front of the Compass Center. I said, no way, I'm not doing it. So we did it in an alley outside the Compass Center because the Compass Center helped me. I don't want to give them a black eye. And then sure enough, they ran the story, and there I was on national TV for the first time. And I just told them kind of the story I just told you guys. And I said, and now, you know, I'm sober. I was sober at the time. I was working. I actually was dog grooming. I learned how to dog groom in California when I was married. Yeah, another life when I had 9 years, 2 months of sobriety. And so I worked at this dog place, and I was a dog wrangler. So we'd rock out, and play with dogs all day. It was a gas. But anyways,
Hell yeah, dog make the world go round.
That's a ruthless story.
I fucking my jaw can't go anymore like through my floor. Like I'm just speechless. Okay, but Bill,
yes.
I know you might need a minute after that story, but
No, I'm good. I'm rolling.
okay, but you
Whatever blows your hair back, I'm good.
I was gonna say you did sign that paper though, because I think we totally skipped all of that over. I think we missed that, but you did end up signing the paper to put the money away for a while, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, actually, I took the pen, said "fuck you," I got the donuts. I'm out of here. No,
Dude, okay.
no,
I
no, I'm kidding. No. I actually sat down. It did take me, honestly, it took me a minute to get my composure. I was really just shocked that I'm doing this, and I swear, I'm not a real, woo kind of guy, but I felt kind of like my brother's presence. It was weird, man. And I did sign that, and it was astonishing. And it was the best move of my life. And I'll tell you, just kind of for an example. Okay, so that was done on July 2012. Okay, and he set it up to where I live in low income housing. I have to report to the federal government, which I do. I have to report to the state Department of Health, Human Services, and everybody else my income, which is fine. And he made it to where it's just a reportable income. It's like I won the lottery and I did not take the lump investment, right? And he said, Bill, it's going to be small, and it was like, I don't know, 286 bucks. And I was like, okay, that's cool, whatever. And he said, but it'll grow because we added that 3% increase every July, which is next month, and it increases 3%. So this month I got $538.97. And that's my brother's money. And that's what he did for me. And that's why I can focus on my mental health and focus on working with Mark and Fendel, my buddy Mark here, and work on my mental health. My sobriety date is February 8th, 2023, and I take care of myself. I take medications for my mental health. Yeah, my brother did that for me, and it fuels my art. I mean, I buy art supplies. Yeah, that's him. Every time I get that, he's telling me he's there for me, and he's proud of me. And yeah,
damn, that's beautiful. And man, I'm
and
and
I
I'm
and I get that for the rest of my life until I die.
awesome.
Unless you call 877 cash now and get Jay-Z Wentworth involved, you get that annuity back out.
No, Dave thought of that.
I'm kidding.
No,
Don't
Dave
do
thought
that.
of
No.
Dave,
Leave it how it is.
I already asked him. Are you kidding? I'm always watching that commercial because I'm watching Jerry Springer while I'm getting hammered, man. Come on.
Actually, just Fendel had his
It's not often you get to throw in a J.G. Wentworth joke.
That's right.
Fendel had his hand up. I don't know if you had a question there, Fendel. We could bring you in here, man. You can feel free to unmute anytime you want, Fendel.
Oh, I just wanted to come up here and show some love and just say like hey Bill, like super proud of you and super nice to hear you on program, and always real special to hear your story and share it with these lovely people. And if you're in here listening to this, like you guys are the real ones. Like this is incredible. And when you collect Bill's art, it is not about Tezos. This is way bigger than Tezos. This is not about money. This is about friendship. This is about connection and support. And I just appreciate you guys for being here today. And yeah, I just wanted to come up and show some love. So, you know, always appreciate you, Bill, and Bits and Willie. I love you guys. I'll let you. I'll let you keep on going. You can. If you guys want me to play some saxophone later, I'm gonna bust out this horn. So.
All right, keep that horn handy for sure.
I got the neck strap on.
I thought you said something else. All right, I've had a very long. So Bill, you said you've been painting since 2016. Your first sales were physical sales and stuff. So what got you into crypto? How did you find NFTs and Tezos?
I actually, well, can I tell you real quick about my first sale?
Sure.
It's a fucking gas. I think it is. Right, Mark? Well, I was drinking and I needed money. So I went to my barber, Dave the barber. He's always good for 40 bucks. So I went to Trader Joe's. I bought a 12-pack of warm beer, of course, threw it in the freezer, raced down to Uncle Ike's pot shop, grab a gram. I go in there, and I'm just bullshit the guy. Says, yeah, I just come back from the barber shop where my art's at, just to see if any art sold, but no such luck. And he says, oh, you're an artist, huh? I says, yeah. And he goes, let me see some of your work. And I show him, and he goes, oh, hey, I like that one. And he says, yeah, hey, I like that one. And he goes, yeah, I'll buy that one, but I just started here, so I can't go and do it now. But I said, yeah, I'll deliver it to you. I live right up the street. He goes, okay. I get break at 4:30. Okay, so I come back. Now I'm loaded. I'm buzzed, and I bring it back. Meet him out in the parking lot. Do the deal. I says, hey, if your wife doesn't like it, money back guarantee. Says, it's my house. She'll like it. Don't worry, kind of issue. And I'm like, whatever. And I'm drunk, and I'm like, okay. So remember that. So then people, as I said, in Path of Art said I could sell my art, but they had no clue. So I record the local news so I can fast forward and see the puppy story and skip the BS. And I noticed there's a council person running for the local council seat where I'm at in Seattle. And I was interested in, what his deal was. And then he withdrew because he wanted to work with a nonprofit. I looked into it and I found out that nonprofit helps people like me who are on Social Security disability, who got issues. Let's just, I've experienced trauma, physical, mental, sexual, all the above, the whole ball of wax. And I called them. I went to an orientation and I applied, and it's Ventures Nonprofit. So I applied, I met the criteria, I presented my financial documents, and thank God, through all that drinking, I still have enough brains to fill out applications that are legible. Thank God for that, God. And so I completed the documents, and then I was accepted. I completed their 8-week program, and as a result of completing that program, I was able to bring my paintings into their store at the Pike Place Market. They have a store there called Ventures Nonprofit with other entrepreneurs like myself, as well as Fendel and Sister Sage, and they have product in there, and they sell their product in there. And we get our funds. And when you graduate the 8-week program, you receive lifetime business advice and counseling. You have the opportunity to keep your product in their store. You have the opportunity of lifetime business tax advice. They're always continually having upgraded educational classes you can take for free. Sometimes they have a small fee, and if you don't have it, they'll waive it. And you also have the last Tuesday of each month, you can meet with an attorney for free. All of that I got for $100. Everything was going along smooth, and then COVID-19 hit. And it was on like Donkey Kong. I was getting hammered, and I couldn't stay sober. I was going to Zoom meetings for recovery and, drinking, and I was a hot mess. And then they had this resource roundup every Friday at Ventures at 1 p.m. And I was so lonely because I mentioned briefly I'd been in recovery. I had 9 years and 2 months of sobriety. I quit when I was 22, March 13, 1988. I was successful, had a beautiful wife with 2 college degrees, and I drank again. And she left me. And, I had no one. I had no children. My parents were gone. I have 2 estranged sisters, and everybody else is dead, gone, or estranged. And so I was just drinking, and I was drinking to die, man. So I needed to at least see people. So I logged into this meeting, and I would see Jane from Sister Sage, and I would see her, and I'll never forget when we had a class together, I chatted with her and I told her my story, and I could see her emotion after my story. I don't know why I told her my story. I don't know. I just met the woman. I didn't know who she was, and there it was. So I felt the bond. So I knew Jane, and I trusted Jane. And then one day she was unable to make the Zoom meeting. She was on the farm. She was working. She was busy. And then Mark showed up. Bendel came in. I'd never seen him before. I don't know who he was. I don't know what caliber of drunk I was that day. I didn't know nothing. I knew he was cool with Jane, so I was cool with him 100%. And then so I would have my camera off, and then when I turn my camera on with a Zoom meeting, you see all of my art. I have art all over my apartment. I actually sent Bits a couple shots, but you see all of it. And it's extraordinarily awkward for me at times because all these people are looking at it. And it's kind of like that weird feeling again comes back. And then I look at those paintings behind me on the camera and I think, was I drinking when I did that one? Or was I sober with that one? And then I would just kind of laugh it off, and just, oh yeah, Bill, you're just a drunk. This is it. This is the pinnacle of your career. Your brother left you money and you're going to drink yourself to death. Hip hop hooray. And then Mark asked me, is that your art? And I says, yeah. And he goes, that's your art. I says, yeah. And I says, you like it? He goes, I love it. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. And he says, hey, listen, I'm doing this. Have you heard of NFTs? I said, well, my childhood friend, I mentioned earlier, old Gator up there in Ballard said, Bill, NFTs are the next thing for artists, but I have no idea what the hell they are. You should look into it. And I trusted that man to this day with my life. But I didn't look into it because I couldn't stay sober. I couldn't spell NFT, let alone look it up. So I says, yeah. When Mark asked me, that was 2 weeks later, and I said, I want to do that. Yes, let's do it. So we exchanged contact information, and that was it. And then we talked on the phone, and I told him my story, and I told him I'm a fucking drunk bum, bro. This could be a mistake. Think twice. Consult a professional. I'm fucking. I'm fucked. And I got to know him a little bit more and trusted him. I already trusted him, but even more. And then we built a friendship. And I didn't have computer. I think my computer died. I think I got drunk and threw it out. That was it, or both. Yeah, that was it. Anyways, so I then reached out to, Ventures reached out to me and said, Bill, we have grant money we need to give you. And I said, I don't want it. And they said, why not? And I said, because it's COVID-19 and I'm watching people starving and lining up. And I have 2 incomes. And I'm not going to take their money. And I didn't know anything. Fuck, I don't know shit about it from nonprofit, And she says, Bill, you have to take it. That's what we do. We're here to help you. There's no strings attached. You can buy whatever you want. And all you have to do is apply. Please do it. And I did. Because I thought, they're the professionals, and I'm the drunk bum. And that's what I said at the University of Washington, because I laughed at them when I said they put me on disability. I said, that's not in the John Wayne handbook, motherfucker. No way. And yeah, it was very hard to accept that money. And all the death and then so I got the money. I bought a recycled Dell computer, Windows 7, and I'm on it right now with my 43-inch flat screen. I'm looking at you. And that's where that journey began. And then they gave me another grant, and I was able to buy a beautiful Microsoft Surface laptop that was gifted to my neighbor through Seattle Housing Authority. There again, Seattle helping those who need help. They gave him a computer. But he already had multiple computers. This guy's got multiple of everything. And he said, Bill, I'm getting a new computer. You want to buy this laptop? It's still in the packaging. I said, absolutely. He got this new computer from Seattle Housing Authority and HUD Housing. And he said, Bill, why don't you buy the new one? It's too small for me. I can't see this thing. That's where I got the funds from Ventures. And I saved $170 on that purchase with a brand new Microsoft Surface with Windows 11. And I can't even dream this shit up. This was not in my plans, not in my idea. And Mark talked to me on the phone and walked me through the process of creating the Coinbase, creating a Kukai, creating other things. And he created that with me side by side, not, looking down at me, because I still couldn't stay. I was trying to stay sober. But when I was talking with Mark, I was honest. I'd say, yeah, I was drinking or whatever. And he'd say, Bill, you're better off. I love you either way, but you're better off not drinking. But that's just, kind of, fennel. That's my opinion. And but he kept hanging in there with me, man. He stuck it out, and we minted Eggs and Toast on September 14th, 2021. And we actually had pre-sales, and I was stunned. I didn't know people even knew who I was. I was like, but I had no idea that Fendel had this present on social media, because I didn't want nothing to do with social media, because last time I was on it, I had every bank account hacked. They didn't get any money, but I was, anyways, it was what it was. So I didn't even want a Twitter account. And he said, Bill, that's how we communicate. And I think I got pissed at him, and I said, I don't want to. He goes, Bill, you don't have to have a Twitter account, but. And I said, okay, I'll get one. And then he generated this Twitter account with this handle, and I couldn't believe it, because there's a Bill Knight artist with, he's an artist official in Seattle. I couldn't get his name from my company. That's why my company is called Knight's Art. And I am the sole proprietor in Knight's Art right now. I'm looking at my business license. I am active and current. This is my 5th year of being a small business owner. And Mark and Sister Sage has been there with me the whole time. And gosh, it's just been a wonderful experience. And the most, I don't know how to really put this, but I felt smart learning how to do that with Mark. And then Mark telling me that, you're pretty smart. You got this. And then I was like, yeah, I guess I am pretty smart. I'm smart enough to figure this out. And then I did together. And then I did it by myself. And then on the old Hit Eknunk, page back in the early days, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And then I just said, okay, I'm going to do this. And I just took every painting I had in my house and I took a picture and I minted it. And I just did that I think all day, all night. And I just did it. And I pumped them out because I thought this is all going to end. The world's going to explode. It's all going to be $1 million to mint. I just had a panic, And, so I get a phone call from Mark. And this was just, I'll never forget it. He called me and he goes, congratulations, Bill. I said, for what? And he goes, the greatest of all time. Something to that effect. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, bro, I've never seen anybody mint as many pieces as you've done right now. And I said, really? And I didn't believe him. I didn't believe him. I was like, get out of here. And he goes, no, go look at some other people's pages. And I did, and I didn't know even other people existed. I didn't know they had other pages. I didn't know who's on first. I didn't know who's on second. I couldn't fucking stay sober. I'm smoking a joint. My neighbor's knocking on my door, and, hey, Bill. But, and it was off the hook. And then it happened. I made money. And I made money on art that I made art that I either gave away, sold, or still have in my apartment to this day. And I sold enough art in 92 days. In those first 92 days, 90 days, and I got this from a report that Thimble got for me. I saw it black and white. I was stunned. And it said right there that I made $575. And I didn't know which day I did it sober, which day I was sober, which fucking day I was, just a mess. I didn't know what was going on. But let me tell you, folks, that sobered me up and got my attention. I'm like, this is serious. This is going down right now. And I was hooked, And then, Fendel, man, I appreciate you. I love you. Shout out to you and Sister Sage as well, because, I couldn't have done it without your support. And then the experience of the NFT was surreal. I wouldn't go on Twitter very much because I would always think I'm going down a rabbit hole of whatever issues on whatever, right? And Mark assured me, he said, Bill, we talk about music and art, and I started realizing that it's true. And then the most fascinating part to me, well, many of it is in my relapses, I did not tweet like a drunk fool, but I did tell people, I'm struggling, man. I'm drinking. I'm having a hard time. and people reached out to me with a direct message, and that helped me. You know, when Mark mentioned someone in Bulgaria, Brutalisti, and I was moved. Someone across the world gives a shit about Bill Knight, and then I found the opportunity to buy art and support other artists in other countries where the dollar is an exchange rate is extraordinary, and I love their art. And then Mark introduced me because he said he was doing it with music and collaborations with Ann Gurkich, and he asked me if I'd like to do that, and I did. And anything Mark said, I did. I just said, yeah, I'm in, and I did it. We did a collaboration, and yeah, it was great. And we've done multiple collaborations. We have one right now that Mark, or excuse me, Fendel and my, excuse me, Fendel de la Crome is, and WW Rowan Val, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's something that I never thought was possible uh, in the way of the crypto, the blockchain, still understanding it, but not. But I understand it enough to talk to people and articulate it and still receive the deer in the headlights look that I got when I first asked my ex-wife out on a date on the bus in Santa Rosa. Oh, there it is. And
Yeah, I just remembered that was minted, so I put up at the top for everybody to see. Check out.
yeah, so I explain, yeah, this piece right here. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's awesome. um,
It is awesome, and I gotta go buy it. I don't have it yet.
yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate your support. Yeah, I find that when I explain my journey to people in September 2021, they looked at me like I was from Mars. And to this day, they they don't understand it. I'll be honest, and it's a lot of people, you know, that are in my circle, you know, recovery and you know people that I live with in low income housing, and you know, but it's so. I'm sharing this with you because you know I know about something that brings color to the world. And like I've mentioned that before, that's something that really resonates in my soul. And I can do it, and people support me that I don't even know until I met at the NFT Museum. And I met you people and people who I haven't met and who I don't know. I love you all, and man, you saved my life. I mean, literally saved my life. Because when I explain this to someone who I totally respect, think is educated, put them, dare I say, on a pedestal, if you will, not really, kind of, and I tell them this, and they are stunned at what I'm doing and are proud of me.
Mm-hmm.
And that feeling of we're proud of you, kind of, I miss that boat a lot. You know, and that was because of me. That was because of my selfishness, you know, and my active alcoholism, and then being active in my disease. You know, shit, it was, you know, just killing me. But that's how I got into crypto, and yeah, that's yeah.
That's fucking cool.
Thanks. Yeah.
You know, I just as you were telling that story, that's the one thing, man. I tell you, if if we could just have a few more Fendels, it would be great. Because I mean, yeah, when you're talking about Fendel going, hey, Bill, you do you, but I think you're better, not drinking and like I don't know, I can picture Fendel saying it. Like if Fendel told me to do something, I'd be like, yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do that. It's,
Unless he told me to go on a hike with him, I'm not doing that. That's death.
Oh yeah, yeah, I'm with you.
I would, I would, I almost, I don't know, I would at least entertain it. I mean,
Nah, dude, he'd be like, "Oh, it's an easy hike. It's gonna be so easy." I'd die like 2 miles
no, I'd be like, okay, I'd be like scouting the map and going, okay, where can I buck out of this? Like,
in. Yeah,
where can I, how far can,
at the trailhead.
how far can I go behind the,
Yeah, I'll give you a ride, buddy. Sure,
no, no,
I'll give you a ride to the trailhead. No problem.
yeah, no, I definitely would go on an adventure with Fendel, just probably not one of the big long ones. I started in his backyard. That was the first one. We walked over to the creek. Uh,
Yeah, it reminds me of my Boy Scout days. We were hiking, and me and my pals stayed back so we can get loaded. We're getting all high and drinking beers and getting stoned and wasted, and everybody's hiking way up ahead of us. Then we go up to the road, like I think it was Lassen, and me and my pals go up to the road. We start hitchhiking. Station wagon pulls over, picks us up. We all pile in. Then they drive us to where we're all supposed to meet. Like I think it was Hell's Kitchen or some geyser thing or some weird bullshit. I don't even remember. I was tanked. And we get there, and all the scoutmasters and everybody showing up. We're just kicking back, laughing and fucking around. They're going, "How'd you guys get here?" Oh man, no hiking for me, Fendel. That stint in scoutship lasted very briefly. They were not about that.
yeah, I was surprised that I never got kicked out of scouts. I know I was very close most of the time.
Yeah, well,
'Cause,
our scout troop blew up the toilet at the Catholic church that we met at. They tried to pin me on it, and I said I didn't do it.
it
They
wasn't me.
threw an M80 down the toilet and blew it up
Ah,
at Holy Spirit Catholic Church.
something I've never gotten to do. Drop an M80 in a toilet.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty.
Oh fuck. Um, yeah, I remember when I don't know. I remember when you started minting. I just remember Fendel had said, "Hey man, in a post or whatever." He's like, "Gotta. This is Bill Knight, my friend. Just go check his art out." And I was like, "Yeah, great." And I bought it, and I bought many. I've bought a few pieces over the last year for sure. Um, but I remember one of the first. I don't know if it was the first thing that you had ever said to me or whatever. If it was in a post or if it was in a DM, I can't remember. And I just remember it's always stuck in my head. But you just said, you know, Fendel told me I would meet nice people here, and I did, and I really like all of you, and thank you very much for buying my art. But I don't know why that sticks in my head, but that was like one of the first things that you ever messaged, and I was like, well, that's awesome, because buying somebody's art and then getting that kind of a response is really great, right? Like you're happy, and that makes me happy, because your art made me happy, and it made you happy in the process. That we're back to that little triangle thing, little
Yeah,
happy triangle.
yeah. Thank you so much for purchasing my art and supporting me. That's amazing. Yeah, I never forgot the time Mark told me, you know, excuse me. He said you guys mentioned me on your program, and I said, "Shut the fuck up." I said, "No way." He goes, "I'm serious." I didn't believe him again, and he says, "Yeah," and I said, "Okay," and I don't know why I didn't believe him, but he sure enough sent me the link, and I heard my name, and you guys showed my Snoqualmie Falls, and I was just fucking just like, "Whoa, man, that just blew my mind." But anyways, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you, Friendo Dean Hoklum. And yeah, wow, what a mind blower. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you shared that in um uh-oh, it says the host is having connection issues. Well, if we get rugged, fair warning, it might happen. It just popped up on my screen. But I was going to say, yeah, at TezCon, when you had mentioned that little story at TezCon, I mean, I teared up because, it's not very often we get to hear really it, really awesome stories like that, right? Like we don't, and it's funny because Willie and I have had a few people on who it's like their first time and they're so happy that we wanted to talk to them, or even folks who are big artists in the space, and you figure you can't even get them on the show, and then you reach out to them and they're like, yeah, I would fucking love that to come on your show. Nobody's ever asked me to come on the show. And I'm like, wow, that's cool, man. It really makes Willie and I smile. It's kind of why we do this show. I mean, we meet really great people is the big thing, and then those moments like that where you make a difference in somebody's life, and in no matter how big or small. Well, I remember Paldy Paldy. Weren't we all buying Paldy Paldy the one night? That's how we kind of met Paldy Paldy.
I mean, we were. I think you had a
Buying
fresh drop, and yeah, we were all picking it up. I mean, I'd collected him before, and Paul, who's a ghost, had collected him before. But yeah, it was like at a drop, and then we were like, wait a minute,